He said, John is clinically dead, and I want permission to turn the machine off.
Times he's ever been down, and he's in trouble now. A right hand, and down he goes.
I know it's not going to be your opponent, but when you see it, and the tragedy of somebody dying in front of you, it does affect you.
There's no hard feelings here.
It's been tough.
Unable to hold back his emotions, Jack Lowe breaks down while talking about the death of 19-year-old boxer Hamza Al-Jami, who died from injuries suffered at his show last weekend.
This is a young man that died. Could have been my fighter. Could have been my son. You know, he's boxed. It could have been anybody that night.
Al-Jami's opponent that night was Warren native Anthony Taylor, whom Lowe says is also devastated. Lowe says Taylor did get some encouraging news when he visited Al-Jami in the hospital.
And he told Anthony, you know, my son would want you to continue on. I want you to continue on, and you know, God bless you in your career. It was not your fault, kid.
Страхом получить удар, да, на мушке совершенно точно, вы заметили, вот нашли нужный слайд. И это психологически.
Похоже, все. Похоже, он просто не выдержал, сломался.
Да. Это нокаут.
Ну сколько можно ударов пропускать, все. Ему просто плохо, посмотрите.
Да. Это количество перешло в качество. Да. Но держался как мог, конечно.
Ну что, Сергей молодец, просто молодец.
Ну, великолепный бокс, мне так кажется, он продемонстрировал.
А Симакова, я думаю, сейчас повезут в больницу. Посмотрите-ка что.
Он обессилел просто.
Посмотрите-ка
что. Очень тяжело, а? Тяжелейший нокаут.
Тяжелейший, это мягко сказано.
Где врач? Где врач?
Ну, я думаю, что человек, зрители аплодируют Симакову.
Maybe it's the most bad day was in my career when I got the news that my opponent is died. You know, it's in Russia. It broke me as for some time as a boxer. No, I didn't forget.
Sure. But like, do you still think about it?
Sure. When I go to the ring in the fight or sparring, I make it. I think about that I can be there too. You know, it's very uncomfortable moment.
Vuelve a mandarle golpe, le campanea la cabeza, se levanta en todo, la Chávez soporta, Chávez se le está yendo, ataca, y Ayón dice, no más, victoria de Omar Chávez.
La camilla entró minutos después, Marco se sobaba la nariz, después la frente, ya acostado, su mano se volvió ingobernable. Síntoma de un pronóstico complicado. Ya en el hospital, la tomografía confirmó derrame cerebral. El doctor Javier Aguilar operó y espera que el cerebro se desinflame para abrigar un mejor camino para Nazaret. Al hospital acudieron tanto Julio César Chávez González, Omar Chávez y gente para apoyar a la familia de Nazaret.
Y ojalá y pues salga bien el muchacho, ¿no?
Yo no culpo a Omar, yo no culpo a Julio César Chávez, no culpo a la organización. Esto es un deporte.
The 12th and final round.
Owen feeding the effect, right hand and uppercut by Fedor. Owen was down for the count of 8 in the 9th round. The only knockout. He's down now from the right hand. 44 seconds to go here in the 12th round. That right hand nails Johnny Owen flush on the chin. Marty Jenkins says, are you all right? So Owen down for the second time in his boxing career. The only times he's ever been down, and he's in trouble now. A right hand, and down he goes. And that, I think, will do it. Yes, we'll not get up from this one. As Luki Tintor has won this fight and successfully defended his WBC Bantamweight Championship He's on the shoulders of his supporters who have come into the ring. Very little security here, I might add. No police to keep these strangers out of the ring. Have no business in there, of course. 25 seconds remaining in this 12th round. The knockdown scored 35.
Johnny lay in a coma on a life support machine for 46 days and nights until early November.
We went down to the hospital with John lying there. The neurosurgeon came in and he said, I got bad news for you, Mr. Owens, he said. I said, what's that? He said, John is clinically dead. And I want permission to turn the machine off.
Match was made only a few hours after Roan learned of his mother's death. He planned to use the $800 purse to help pay for her funeral.
He just said, I want to make some money to help, which, you know, I took it as he wanted to help for the funeral expenses, whatever he could do. Because, you know, I mean, he wasn't a rich guy, he wasn't poor, but Brad had pride, and that's one thing you can't buy.
The reason he told me to the fight, because his mother's never seen him fight. Now that she's dead, he said that he knew that she would see him fight.
The fight, one of 3 fights on the undercard of a women's bout, started shortly after sundown. Most of the first round was uneventful. No significant blows were exchanged.
And then like 10 seconds left, or 5 seconds left, we got tied up in my corner on my side of the ring. And he had my left arm tied up like this, so I hit him with 3 right hands to the body. Into the ribs, you know. But it wasn't very hard because when you're tied up, you can't get full torque on your shots. And the bell rung. The referee says break. I take 3 steps back, and Brad's holding the ropes, just looking right at me. Kind of, and about 2 seconds later, all of a sudden, look, he's fainting.
I saw that his right leg was twitching, and I realized pretty quickly that he was in trouble. I didn't know why. I couldn't figure out why because nobody saw any punch. I hadn't seen it. And I asked other people, did I miss something? And they said, no, he just collapsed.
2 doctors at ringside tried to revive Roan. When their efforts failed, he was rushed to a local hospital, where he was soon pronounced dead. The presumed cause of death was cardiac arrest.
You're always told in boxing that that you possibly can die, or you can get hurt, but you just don't, you know. Never expect it's gonna happen to you. Like, you're invincible, nothing's gonna happen to you, and nothing's gonna happen to your opponent. But when you see it, and the tragedy of somebody dying in front of you, it does affect you.
Becky Zerlantis was in the Colorado Golden Gloves last Saturday in Denver when she was knocked down and unconscious by a right hand in the 3rd round. The coroner's office said has ruled that her death was caused by blunt force trauma.
You know, legally and properly, the referee can't stop this fight, but it's one that if there's any way possible, I would like to have saw the fight stop, but you can't when he's fighting back and he still is the champion.
What it means, though, is that Levander Johnson is, in all likelihood, going to take 6 more minutes of the kind of punishment we've watched him take for 10 rounds.
Terrible,
and that's not
terrible.
good.
No, it's not good.
He's going to fall by himself.
Picking up on that conversation I was having with Emmanuel, in the recent history of the sport, when you look at fights where one fighter has been badly, sometimes permanently damaged, 2 constants seem to be part of the formula. Number 1, the opponent who is doing all the damage is a hard hitter but not a big enough puncher to put the opponent away. That's Chavez in this fight. Number 2, the guy who is getting worked over has his father in the corner as his trainer, constantly sending him back out to take more punishment. It's just a coincidence, we hope, that those 2 factors
The fight should be stopped. I would have stopped the fight between
right now.
Tony Weeks can stop it any time, and he does.
Okay.
Thank heaven.
Chavez still had energy going into the 11th round after all that work. You got to give him credit.
An 11th round TKO victory for Jesus Chavez, who owned the fight from the very beginning. Thank heaven. Referee Tony Weeks saw the reality and stopped the fight.
See the physical manifestations. Their faces become red. There's a cut on Mancini's ear. And then Kim's face has become a grotesque mask by that 13th round.
This is the challenger, Duke Goof Kim. You may not have heard of him before. You will remember him today, win or lose.
In the 14th round, Ray came out. And he was determined this was going to be it. And he went right to Kim.
The left hook kind of stunned him. I hit him another left hook that stunned him. And then threw the right hand right down the middle. And hit him on the chin. And he went down.
Referee Richard Green rightly stopped the fight. Nobody thought that Kim was badly hurt.
I felt that he was, if anything, dehydrated.
His head hit not 10 feet away from me, and his eyes are open. And I don't know if it was my imagination, but to me, I saw his pupils dilate.
I was just so happy because it was such a grueling fight, and so happy that it was over. Nobody knew what was happening to Dooku Kim.
I prayed to God so that Kim would live. I really hoped to see him again. So his death was a huge shock to me. I wandered for a while. It took almost 1 year to feel somewhat easy on Kim's death. Kim was my best friend.
Cuba's door, or boxing ain't allowed no more. I hit him, yes, it's true, but that's what I'm paid to do. Don't say murder, don't say kill, it was destiny, it was God's will. Who killed Davy Moore? Why, and what's the reason?
Right against the ropes, almost helpless. To go, and they're going to stop it. They're going to stop it as Correct saves to the canvas. Correct goes down from sheer exhaustion. Look at him there. As his handlers put his mouthpiece out. Dr. Schiff is coming over to look at him. Correct has collapsed from exhaustion from that beating on the ropes. And Dr. Alexander Schiff of the Commission is trying to get at him.
My pleasure to see you, sir. Are you the kid's son?
But I want you to know that it's there's no hard feelings here, and
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I didn't go in there to hurt no one.
I know.
Unable to hold back his emotions, Jack Lowe breaks down while talking about the death of 19-year-old boxer Hamza Al-Jami, who died from injuries suffered at his show last weekend.
This is a young man that died. Could have been my fighter. Could have been my son. You know, he's boxed. It could have been anybody that night.
Al-Jami's opponent that night was Warren native Anthony Taylor, whom Lowe says is also devastated.
He said, John is clinically dead, and I want permission to turn the machine off.
Times he's ever been down, and he's in trouble now. A right hand, and down he goes.
You know it's not going to be your opponent, but when you see it, and the tragedy of somebody dying in front of you, it does affect you.
There's no hard feelings here.
It's been tough.
Тяжелейше, это мягко сказано.
Где врач? Где врач?
Ну, я думаю, что человек, зрители аплодируют Самакову.
Maybe it's the most bad day was in my career when I got the news that my opponent is died. You know, it's in Russia. It broke me as a.
Сломался.
Да. Это нокаут.
Ну сколько можно ударов пропускать? Все. Ему просто плохо, посмотрите.
Да. Это количество перешло в качество. Да. Но держался как мог, конечно.
Ну что, Сергей молодец, просто молодец.
Ну, великолепный бокс, мне так кажется, он продемонстрировал.
А Самакова, я думаю, сейчас повезут в больницу. Посмотрите-ка что.
Он обессилел просто.
Посмотрите-ка что.
Тяжело, а? Тяжелейший нокаут.
Stated. Lowe says Taylor did get some encouraging news when he visited Al-Jami in the hospital.
And he told Anthony, you know, my son would want you to continue on. I want you to continue on, and you know, God bless you in your career. It was not your fault, kid.
Страхом получить удар, да, на мушке совершенно точно, вы заметили, вот на что это. И это психологически.
Похоже, все. Похоже, он просто не выдержал.